Hey guys, Paul McClain here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast, and I'm excited that you joined today. Thank you for joining each and every week, and I hope it serves you and serves you well. Today we got a very special guest, the president of Family First Life, my man, Sean Mike.
What's up, Paul? How are you?
Doing great, man.
Good. You seem excited over there. You're smiling.
I
it's
am,
like
dude.
We're playing poker and you have really good cards. You must know what's going on.
Well, I got a good guest.
Okay. All right. I got a great host, so we're doing
Nothing
all right.
against anyone that's watching this has been a guest, and I didn't smile, but I mean, it is.
They didn't even. They weren't as perceptive. I was paying attention.
That's true. That's true. And you got to get rewarded for that. So, hey, I got a great topic to go into today that I'm excited about. In fact, I think that more people when you are giving and you're growing. Like if you're developing and you're donating, whether that's time, money, resources, I just feel like for me, that's when I feel the most fulfilled and gratified. And I think that's why working with FFL, man, I've always felt, not always, but I've felt just like fulfilled, man, and happy and excited because I think what we do is all about giving. And so the topic today is generosity and the importance of that because I think this is something that when people get it, for one, you're more passionate to go out there and I think make more so you can give more, you know? Like Sean, one of my goals that I had a long time ago was to donate or to tithe a six-figure check to the church. And last year, man, I was able to do a multiple six-figure check to the church. I don't say that to brag at all. I said, but like, dude, that was more exciting. I was more excited about that than I was about the money going into my bank account when I did the partnership with Integrity.
Correct.
Because it's about what that's going to do and the outreach, and that was something that overwhelmed me when I took a look at that and I went through it with my CPA, and I was like, that's what it's about, you know. And so you've shown that in every area of this business. When FFL started giving the highest comp out, you could have took more. Dude, you could have made comp 120, and we still would have had the highest comp.
Correct.
But you made it 145. It was in the concept I've always heard from you is like give as much as you possibly can where you can still survive. Not keep as much as you possibly can or get away with just as much as you can.
Treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Yeah.
Like if you were in that position, what would you want the people that were making those decisions to do?
And so I want to talk about that, man. If you can go into like, you know, giving and how that's been such a center of how you've built the business and why it drives you.
Well, you know, first of all, as far as launching the business and those fundamental concepts, I was at a training years ago with Dave Anderson, John Maxwell, and Arthur Blank. I did a little Q&A, and somebody asked Arthur Blank, like, basically, what was the fundamental concept with HD, like Home Depot, when they launched it, like the history. I mean, he was working at a hardware store, the whole deal, and you know, him and a couple guys decided to launch at Home Depot. But what he said was, it made sense to me that men and women could come in, buy the materials they wanted for much cheaper, and then a lot of times be empowered to do the work themselves so they would save money for their family. And if I was going to do that for them, then we'd have this big box store concept, and a little bit of a lot would become more than enough. So I never forget sitting in there. It's like one of those moments like I was supposed to be there, and I was like, dude, if I ever get to run a business, I'll run it like that. Like I'll run it where, you know, we can all do it together, and that a little bit of a lot. I'll be forced to want to keep growing. I'll actually need to keep growing for us to actually make any money at all as a company. So for me, that was very simple. That was the concept. So when we launched the company, it was we're trying to stay alive. I'm not going to tell you we donated a lot of money our first 3 or 4 years. We didn't make a lot of money. You know, we were giving away what we could give away. But that concept has never changed. Anytime we go make a decision and somebody says, you should do A, B, or C, if it's contrary to that, I don't do it. Like, we actually started the comp at 140. That's as high as we could go to begin with, and then we raised it. And I had more people join us when we raised it, and I was like, man, was there that big a difference between 140 and 145? They said, no, yours is already the highest by far, but if I'm working at a company that raises it, even though they're already the highest, they continue to give more back, then I just got to believe the future's bright. So more people join us for that reason. You know, as far as the tithing and giving back, you know, the Pastor Matthew and the Dream Center, that changed our entire perspective. I think that I fell in love with the Dream Center when I went there. I fell in love with the programs, the people, the way they run it. I was completely in love. Like dude, they had me. I was good. And what really got me was the fact that it was all private, right? Funding, right? It wasn't any government assistance. And they needed to continue to work that hard to raise money to stay in business, to stay afloat, to provide for people and serving whatever they have, 14,000 meals a day and all the other things they do. I won't quote everything because I'll screw it up. I don't know the numbers that well. But what I can tell you is if you look at our business the day we met the Dream Center and Pastor Matthew, and you look at our business fast forward 4 years later, and you look at what we, it's funny because I said as we wanted to make sure that we were able to give away 7 figures. And that's everybody. That's the company. And we give away a lot of it, and then individual people that help. And we were able to do well over that this year with the Dream Center. I say the same thing. I don't say it to go like, oh my God, look what we did. Not like, oh my God, look what he did or I did, or look how much I say it like, look at the difference we made in people's lives. Yeah. And I heard a guy say, I had a guy one day, and he didn't understand it. He was just like, well, I get it, but, and he had whatever, his own stuff, not my job to judge. And I remember Pastor Matthew said, you can't outgive God. And it's funny because I taught this guy quite a bit. And he said, dude, I didn't know if I really believed in giving back then. But he said, I got to be honest with you. I thought I do want to help people. I'm not a bad person. He goes, I didn't know if I really believed that. I wanted to help. So when I started giving, and I always remembered couldn't outgive God. He goes, maybe selfishly I was giving, but maybe not selfishly. Like I was working really hard and I was giving away money. But then when I realized, man, if I give away that much money and I can't outgive God, my blessings will be relative to what I'm giving away. And I do want to be able to bless a lot of people and take care of my family and the whole thing. So I think for us, Paul, it's always like there's always people that are less, no matter who you are. Even when I was real young, my mother reminded us how there were many people less fortunate than us. And I'd have to look far to, and listen, she struggled to pay bills, but there were people less fortunate, and you always have to remember that. When I was 9, I got hit by a truck. I don't know if I ever told you that or not, but riding my bike, I used to jump. I was an idiot, and I was like jumping. Do you ever like race bikes or doing freestyle? So I was trying to just like tabletop. You know what that is? Yeah. So I was trying to do that in the air, and then I was going to come back down and land. Well, the problem is, was a truck coming around the corner hit me when I was in the air, and I dislocated my hip, broke both my legs, broke both my arms, whatever. And when I got in the hospital, there was 2 of us in the room, me and Kevin, who I did not know. Well, Kevin got hit by a car, ironically, and I was 9. He's probably 11. But he got dragged under the car. The car hit him and kept going. So it hit him on his bike, sucked him underneath the car, and kept driving for some reason. And so his body was exposed to all the exhaust and everything. So he had 3rd-degree burns over the vast majority of his body. And I'll remember it every day like, yeah, I was in traction, I was this and I was that, and yeah, my heart stopped when it happened, and they brought, whatever. But he's never going to walk again like the same. And I was like, I'm going to heal from these. So I just think I've always been so, there's always perspective. So I was like, I'm never going to complain about anything that's happening. I was in there for God don't know how long, because I'm standing or laying next to somebody who is in a worse position than me. And I'm very blessed. And even if that person in the next bed to me wasn't doing worse, there was somebody in the hospital doing worse. And then somebody didn't make it. Somebody got hit by a car and didn't survive. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, I've always just been that like, okay, there's a reason I'm here, there's a purpose. I need to keep moving. And I just think that, I think it provides a lot of perspective for you. And again, it's a very addicting feeling when you can serve and give back and do all that. And as a company, the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We started that off, and this past year we gave them $360,000.
That's great.
It's great. A lot of wishes granted. And, I think for us, it's really been a pathway for our personal growth, which then allowed the company to grow, because I think you can only grow the company so far. It's kind of like you were talking on a podcast a while back about, you had to grow as a person before you grow as a parent. Right? Like you still have to grow as a person. You have to grow as a person before you grow as a coach. Like there's so many things you have to do to get better. And I think it also provided me a lot of perspective in watching other people and what they do. So, what's blown me away, and I don't want to leave anybody about. We have some people here, that a year ago, their businesses were like, they were getting off the ground, And they'd make donations to the Dream Center to the point where Pastor Matthew would show me his phone. And I'm like, man, I don't know if these people can afford these things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to hurt them. I said when to give in, it hurts, it works. But I was like, dude, this might be a little further away, right? But each one of the 3 people I'm thinking of went from there to integrity partnership or in the process of it within 12 months. And if you ask me why, there's a lot of other things they've done, I believe you. But they couldn't outgive God. And I ain't preaching to nobody, believe me. I'm not qualified. I leave it up to, you can do it if you want. Find a pastor for me. Pastor Matthew can do it. I know I'm a disaster, and I'm an imperfect person trying to get better every day. But, I just see it affirmed every day that if life's more, and I think that the people that are attracted to this service business, the byproduct is money, and that's a great byproduct. I mean, that's great. We don't turn around and give it back to the insurance. We don't call the insurance carriers up and go, hey, Tom said he got too much of this today. Like, we don't do that. But it's just a byproduct. And the ability and the honor, when it's an honor to go serve people, that's why I'm always blown away, and Pastor Matthew's so appreciative. I'm like, dude, I'm honored to help in any way that I can. So I think that's why we built the business the way we built it. That's why we don't charge for anything. That's why we don't charge for the trainings, don't charge you to come to convention. We did a event here with 14,000 people in and outside the doors in 3 days at Loan Depot, which obviously was not cheap. And but never for 1 second did we think about charging. Never once. I think we try to do that with everything. We did that when we came up with the way that you do the bonuses. How many families served every month, and the company says, all right, here's how much you get for serving that many families above and beyond what you already have. Because our deal is we're all in it together. And if we can give it back, let's do it. And the motivation from day one has never been, we'll make this much. We were like in our 3rd year, and a guy that runs another one of the companies that we allegedly compete with, we're like 18 times their size on how much we compete with them. But he said, you'll never make as much money as I do. Like, very nice, because not very confrontational. He's like, I just, man, the system, but he's like, almost like he was like trying to be my buddy. What, you're never going to make anywhere near as much as no matter how large you get. And I said, no, bro, but that's never been the goal. I'm not mad at you. I mean, we all have the right to compete. It's capitalism and go to work. But there's never been in our goals sheet at FFL anywhere written how much we will make. Never. And, we knew it would work out. Or, first couple of years was tough, but that was never a goal. We have a goal of how much we want to give away. Now, we know that if to give that away, we have to make a certain amount. We get the mathematical simplicity there. But I think, Paul, it's how we've done it, why we've done it, and it's a big part of why we're growing. I think there's a lot of changes we've made, but, walking into the Dream Center, 4 years and a few months ago, and stumbling in there with a group of people, didn't have any idea what the Dream Center was. Thought Pastor Matthew's a little bit off. I thought he was a client, because he's on methamphetamine, because he's so out of control excited. He's jumping around in a T-shirt and jeans and jumping around the building and showing us. He wants to bring us to the roof. I'm like, that's the place he wants to start, is the roof? That's the place he has to start. We got to go to the roof. Dude, no, you got to go see the roof. It's the best. And I'm like, this is where it all ends, on the roof of this building, wherever we are. And I realized he was in charge. And I was like, I think I'm even more excited that he's in charge. So it's really changed everything for us. Man,
it's been the other night I showed the kids, we put on the TV, and I talked about Family First Life and how much the company's given. And we went through, and you can look it up online, like dreamcenter.com, and you can go through and see all their giving, where they're putting it. And I went through that with my kids just as a reminder of, like, it's not about us, it's about them, because just like kids by nature, it's all about them. Mm-hmm. Me. And I think the problem is for a lot of adults is that they don't ever stop doing the me. And what God's got around the corner for them to unlock that is simply just giving more. And I love that story, Sean, because that story gives right perspective that, like, a lot of times we think, well, we'll give once this takes place. And, dude, I remember we had no money, bro, when we were just getting going, and you were giving $100 bills to guys that were serving hot dogs at the hot dog cart, man.
They're good hot dogs.
Oh, dude, they were good. I don't know if they were worth $150 dude, for one, but it wasn't about the hot dog. It was about the person. And I remember in Ohio, dude, we were in Ohio, me, you, and Andrew, and dude, you gave this guy, like, I think it was like $200, man, for a hot dog, and he started crying, and he gave you a hug, and And it was just like, dude, we didn't have a lot of money then. And
No.
how did I know you didn't have a lot of money? Because I went to corporate office. That's how I knew.
Yeah.
I was like,
We did not have a lot of
I
money.
was like, I thought my office is bad, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is not much of an upgrade.
No, it was definitely a downgrade.
And I remember what you said. I was like, dude, this is office. He's like, yeah, we could lower comp and get a big one. I was like, I like this office.
Yeah,
this
is
a
a perfect
good
office.
This is
Yeah.
a beautiful office.
Yeah.
But dude, that you didn't wait to get to a level to give. Like, that was just a part of what what you do and what you've done. And I think for that quote of like, you cannot give God, like that's a fact. And the funny thing, I don't know where I read this at, man. It might have been Pastor Matthew, one of the things he put out there. But like, all these theologians, they try to test like the existence of God. They said the only time you can actually prove the existence of God in the Bible is when you tithe, because it says, test me in this. And so you could even go in with like, man, I want to do it just because I think it's, and he says like, test me, like I'm going to show you. I'll open up the flood, like, and that's just the way it works. And so, I mean, I think that's such a big deal and then not just the money too, but like the time. Like, you know how many people came up to me at conference, man, and they were like, dude, I've spoken to this person and this person, this person. They were all like, just welcoming, encouraging. I got their number. And I thought, because people think like just because somebody's doing a podcast or doing a training, like that they're crazy busy. It's like we said, we're not running Delta. It's not that deep, dude.
Correct.
It's pretty simple. But I just don't think that happens at every company. I do think people are more like guarded with their time and think they're like, you have to earn my time or you have to be doing. And here, man, it's just the culture that we have is completely antithesis of that, man. It's like, how can I serve, help, give time, money, resources? And I think that's such a big deal. I got this verse. I want to read it to you and then ask you what you think about it, man, because it's pretty good. And it goes right alongside. It's a challenge, yeah.
Okay.
So it's 1 Timothy 6:17. It says, command those who are rich. And I like that because it says command, which I thought you'd appreciate that word.
I do like that.
Command those who are rich in this present world. And then before I get to the second part, I saw this. It says, if you make over $30,000 a year, you're in the 1% of top in America or in the world.
I believe it.
30,000.
I believe it.
So I mean, when you say command those who are rich, I mean it's all. Yeah. I mean, I would assume 30,000 would be rich, then, right? In this present world, not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Like, think about how like that goes right in line with how we do because you get on and talk about Dream Center. It's I've always seen you take this stance of like, this is our obligation, where it's almost like, and I've always liked it because I think that's the way it should be. In essence, you're leading the company, and you know that if we give, our life will be better.
Well, here's the thing, and I said this past Matthew, I'd say if he was on here. I said I was there one day, and they were doing this fundraiser. They were calling people up, and I said, I listened to them for a little bit, and I wasn't trying to. I said, guys, I'll be honest with you, like, y'all not very good at raising money. Matter of fact, you're pretty bad at it. And what I mean by that is, this is everybody's obligation. It's not that and they're so nice. That's the thing. They're such good people, and they're so well-intended. But I'm like, you do understand a lot of these people everybody has the ability to give something. Everybody. And I think that we should hold this like it's our obligation. I always love the cop-out 101, I call it. I'm like, they're like, yeah, I would donate, but I have a lot of other things I'm committed to. I'm like, dude, $40 in Girl Scout cookies is not a donation. And they have plenty. I always love, like, I got X amount of dollars in the bank, and I've never been better, and I bought this car and that house. And I'm like, do you think you could give some money away to somebody who's trying to eat a meal, who like took 4 different buses to go to work and got back? Hired a kid the other day. He would take 4, he would leave. I don't know California well, but he was on the bus 2.5 hours each way to work, making whatever minimum wage there is an hour, and drive and back. Like, you're talking about 5 hours traveling, 8 hours working a day, and then whatever time it takes to get to and from, off the bus, the whole deal. So probably gone 15, 16 hours a day for a 40-hour-a-week minimum wage job. And you think, like, how many people are out there that have the ability to do the things that we are able to do and don't have the foresight to just give back? So I love the command, because we are commanded by, not by each other, right? Not to be arrogant. It is our duty and our obligation. Money, if you're not going to go out there and do the best you can to help other people, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because it will come and go. And that was one thing I was certain of too, is that, you know, if we were going to have any blessings, first of all, getting up in the morning is a blessing. It's a blessing. Let's start with that blessing. And then moving forward, I'm just kind of like, you know, I'll be really honest with you, Paul, and people say, man, you don't think anything's a big deal, you don't complain. I'm like, dude, I was told when I was young, be careful if you start complaining about stuff that ain't important, you might get something real to complain about. And I was like, well, life's hard enough, dude. I'm just going to keep my nose down and go to work and do the best I can. So, I mean, that verse is pretty amazing. That's what it means to me. I like it. It's in line with the way I see Pastor Matthew run what he runs and the way we hopefully do it here, and we won't deviate from that.
Well, I mean, you think about, like, and I love where it says, like, everything for your enjoyment, like, you put your hope in God, and it's meaning that he's so generous that everything in our life is for us to enjoy. But if we put our trust in the money, in the dollar, then it stills our ability to have what's enjoyment, which is what he provides, and I think that's great.
That's what I meant to say right there.
Well, dude, think about this.
that's Casey, exactly what I meant to say right there. So.
Hey, you know, you look at, I saw this too, and I just thought this was interesting given this topic, about how many words, let me see if I can find it real quick, that in the Bible it talks about it. And again, this is not preaching, this is just going through the facts of what's stated. It says that in the Bible, it says the word believe 272 times, pray 371 times, love 714 times, and give 2,152 times.
Right.
I mean, dude, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like when I remember going to the Dream Center, and we were at the Christmas where we did the giveaway, and just watching, you know, the kids, you know, like Dom had his kids there, you know, I had the kids there, and watching them just like hand out money and the toys, and just seeing that like they were almost experiencing like real joy in that moment, not getting the gift but giving a gift, you know. Mm-hmm. And dude, I remember being a kid, Sean, and thinking like, dude, Christmas must suck for my parents. Mm-hmm. I remember thinking that, but I was like, dude, they don't get anything. Like, that sucks. And remembering, like, you know, thinking like, dude, I'm so excited about the next morning. And then you become an adult and you realize that, dude, it feels way better.
Oh my God!
It's like I can't sleep on Christmas night or Christmas Eve just because I know the joy in what my kids are going to see as I get to give those gifts. And I just think that, man, there's might be somebody I wonder watching today that, I mean, give to wherever you want to give to, but if you just gave more time, energy, money, resources, that might open up the door that's just being closed that you have the keys to if you just start to give a little bit more, and it might take you to the next level, you know. Anything you want to wrap up with, Sean, related to the generosity topic?
Paul, I just think that it's when it's uncomfortable, things grow. So anytime you're uncomfortable, that's when things tend to change, whether that's personally, professionally, and you know, light at the end of the tunnel is pretty damn bright. So I think for a lot of us, it was uncomfortable to work really hard and then go, all right, well, I'm going to, you know, do this much, and I just know that if I can, I will, and I want to. And, you know, I get messages from people all the time that I don't even know. They're like, hey, you know, you guys did this at Family First Life and helped my family stay in our apartment for 3 months later, or my mom was sick and she did this, or my dad went through this, he went through the program. And dude, one of those things would be enough, let alone the amount of, and I'm not doing it. We're not doing nothing. We're just donating the money and letting Pastor Matthew and his team do the work. So, no, I'll end with this. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're not going to change. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. We're going to serve people. We're going to save agents, and we're going to give back what we can give back and help make a difference in the world, because when we're gone from here, we want people to know we were actually here.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, dude. And guys, go out there and be generous. I know that, hey, it says generous people will be blessed. So go out there and be blessed today. Give back and make it a big week. Stay strong. Be steadfast. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's going on, everybody? We're giving away $1,000. Yes, $1,000 worth of leads. 4 lucky people who commented on last week's video, which is playing right here, are going to win $250 worth of leads. So, if you're wondering what you should be doing right now, you should be commenting on this video as I'm talking, so you're entered to win next week. without further ado, let's see who won this week's. See who's the first winner for this week. Our first winner is Victor Garcia. Love this episode. Love the mindset of everyone that comes on these podcasts. I always learn a lot. We're glad you learned a lot, Victor. Torres, just what I needed. Thank you. Brandon Richardson, great video. A man may make mistakes, but he is not a failure until he makes excuses. Good bit of wisdom. And our fourth and final winner for today is Daryl Lucas. Gold dropped again. 4 winners. Congratulations. You used each one $250 worth of leads. Get in contact with Victoria. Her phone number is going to be right down here. Guys, it's that simple. All you got to do is comment and you could win some free leads. So, leave a comment. Make it a great week this week, and we'll see you next Monday.